The South Africa Presidency has confirmed receipt of a message of greeting purportedly sent to President Cyril Ramaphosa by the leader of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The letter, seen by SABC News, extends warm congratulations to the President, the government and the people of the country on the occasion of Freedom Day yesterday. The official communication, seen as a bid to dispel rumours that Kim Jong Un is gravely ill, expressed the belief that traditional relations of friendship and cooperation between the two countries would steadily grow stronger. SABC News correspondent Sherwin Bryce-Pease earlier confirmed the authenticity of the letter. He joins us now from New York. So, Sherwin, this letter, I believe, is meant as a proof not only of life of the 36-year-old leader, but I suppose also stamping his authority, as questions are also being asked about whether or not he's still in power.
Well, I'm not sure it's necessarily a stamp of authority, Tsepiso. This is a sort of normal fare between countries celebrating national days. You know, I specifically asked the presidential spokesperson, Kusela Dika, whether Kim Jong Un had signed this letter, you know, trying to sort of fish out as to whether he had actually penned the letter. And her response is that many countries, including North Korea, send such correspondence via their embassies. Such letters bear the leader's name and do not carry a signature. The letter was delivered in the same manner and style. So it's not necessarily proof that the leader is alive, but certainly from what we're hearing from US and South Korean intelligence is that they do not believe that Kim Jong Un has passed on. There's some speculation about his current condition in terms of some health procedures he might or might not have had. But all we can basically do is make some educated guesses for you, Tsepiso.
And showing the speculation has gone deep, and that's my reference to a stamp of authority about whether or not he is still in power. Some have gone as far as saying that his sister is holding the levers of power on his behalf, and there's even talk of creating a regency should anything incapacitate Jong Un as leader of South Korea.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But what we are hearing from South Korean intelligence is high up in South Korea's hierarchy as the presidential office to say they believe that he is alive and well. They have their intelligence, and remember, you've got satellites flying over that the Korean peninsula, and so they take pictures, and these are then analyzed by intelligence officers both in the United States and elsewhere, and they are seeing no strange movement that would indicate that the leader of the DPRK is ailing or has passed away. We've seen satellite images from a US-based company called 38 North, and they've provided images of the presidential or the leader's train that transports the Kim family in and around the DPRK in a resort town in the north of the DPRK, in the town of Wonsan. He might be convalescing there. That is some of the speculation. But you're not seeing the type of activity that they have seen when the passing of previous leaders have taken place. They are not seeing that level of activity, that a level of organization or reorganization that one would expect to see if the leader had passed on.
So let's talk about more speculation, showing that was the order of the day yesterday in terms of the United States. Will he or won't he? That is all about the White House briefing. But there's also, I believe, another briefing around, or rather more around China. It seems that a salvo has been fired in this direction, just on possible reparations on economic damage around the coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah, he was asked a question, Tsepiso, by a journalist yesterday about an editorial written in the Bild newspaper in Germany that is asking for a certain amount of billions, over $150 billion from China in reparation to Europe's leading economy for the devastation and the impact that the coronavirus has wrought. And so the journalist asked President Trump whether this was something that he would would consider as well. And he was also, he weighed in on this, saying that it was, there's many things that they can do, and that they were looking at this. But of course, his directing his fire at China also comes after directing some of that fire at the World Health Organization, Tshepiso, but no clarity on what sort of investigations are being conducted for the president to then reach a conclusion as to how to address this issue with China. We also saw a strong response from the Chinese Foreign Ministry repudiating these accusations from the United States and reiterating their view that countries should be working with the World Health Organization. It also bears us mentioning that President Donald Trump was also asked about whether he had any insight into the condition of the DPRK leader, Kim Jong Un, in a series of questions spread over a number of days. So we put together a sequence of his responses. Let's take a look at that.
Well, these are reports that came out, and we don't know. We don't know. I've had a very good relationship with him. I wouldn't, I can only say this: I wish him well, because if he is in the kind of condition that the reports say, that the news is saying, that would be that's a very serious condition, as you know. But I wish him well. I think the report was incorrect. Let me just put it that way. I think the report was done by a network that was incorrect. I'm hearing they used old documents, but that's what I hear. I hear the report was an incorrect report. I hope it was an incorrect report. On Kim Jong Un, I can't tell you exactly. Yes, I do have a very good idea, but I can't talk about it now. I just wish him well. I've had a very good relationship with Kim Jong Un. If I weren't president, you'd be in war. You would have been in war with Korea. You would have been in war with North Korea if I wasn't president. That I can tell you. He expected that. That I can tell you. I hope he's fine. I do know how he's doing, relatively speaking. We will see. You'll probably be hearing in the not too distant future.
And you correctly pointed out there, Tshepiso, that this was a press briefing. Remember, he cancelled his daily press briefings over the weekend, and there was speculation that it would not happen. In fact, the White House had cancelled his Monday press briefing, only then at a very late time in the day to put it back on. So, yeah, a lot coming out of that briefing yesterday, certainly.
And Sherwin, I believe you also have an excerpt on his utterings around China. So if you could just also take us through that.
Yeah, basically on China, the president was responding, Tshepiso, to this question from the German newspaper editorial that called on China to pay Germany $165 billion in reparations. Now, of course, this is a presidency, this is a White House, and this is a Republican Party that is trying to deflect from reports that speak to various briefings, intelligence briefings, classified briefings that the president gets on a daily basis in the White House, that more than a dozen, certainly if we believe what the Washington Post is reporting, a dozen of these briefings pointing out the severity of the outbreak in China and the implications of it spreading around the world. And of course, this was at the same time that President Trump in February and March was downplaying the impact of the virus in China, so in the United States. So we are here at, who do you believe in this instance? Are you going to take the word of the president and the White House, or are we going to believe what's coming out of China or the World Health Organization at this time?
Thank you so much for that. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC correspondent out there in the US, speaking to us from New York.